Here's Gilgeous-Alexander. McCollum staying with him. Spins, gets inside. Left-handed off the glass. Oh, what a sweet move.
Giddey, tough spot. Backdoor. What a pass. What a play. And J-Dub picks the pocket of Trae Young. He'll take it himself.
This is Lou Dort. You're listening to the Uncontested.
What is up, and welcome to the Uncontested Postgame Podcast. Thunder win their third in a row. A big one. I'm joined by Jacob. How's it going?
What's up? It's going well, Nick. It's the 11:30 p.m. pod after a late night West Coast game. Typically we do these, I think typically West Coast games tip at like 9:30 and not 9. So we're actually like 30 minutes earlier.
This is not bad.
Yeah. The late night degenerate show. I love it.
I do too. We are proudly part of the Blue Air Podcast Network. If you don't already, subscribe wherever you get your pods. Leave us a 5-star rating. Follow us on socials. Exciting season. Best start in at least a decade. That was the stat as of last night. Jacob, I don't know if anybody on socials has pulled the stat. I don't know if that's changed. I think it was 2012-13 as of last night. You'd assume there's a chance it's been even longer now.
It was 2013, 2014. Yep. I just pulled up that page. Give me just a moment. And I can tell you, let's see here. No, that's not schedule and results. That's what I want to see. That year they started 9-3, 10-3, 11, 12-3, 13-3.
Okay, that's going to be hard to beat. So not a new.
They've already got 4 losses. They ain't getting there.
Yeah, no additional record. Still a decade,
just a decade.
Still impressed. We talked about it last night. You got Chris Paul, Paul George, Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Durant. All those guys come through this building over the last decade. None of them in the last decade. Obviously, KD and Russ had done it before. None of those guys in the past decade have had a start like Oklahoma City has this season.
The super exciting thing about that, Nick, is by the time we got to 13-14, that was 2 seasons after the finals run. Those were teams that, I mean, at that point, KD and Russ are kind of like vets, and they're established. And the team at that point started adding like veteran pieces to try to like complete the puzzle.
Yeah.
I think of like the Derek Fishers and the Caron Butlers. This is a team that just still has an insane amount of growth to go within itself. Same record as, well, not same record, but close to same record as it was a decade ago. But 2 teams that are in 2 entirely different places.
Yeah.
One team that was hitting the top of its curve and kind of flattening off, and this one just at the beginning of its curve.
And I mean, it's different too, because obviously you had a Kevin Durant, who I think we'd both agree is different level than anybody on this roster. But on the flip side of that team didn't have, I would say, the youth in terms of depth of like other guys that could end up being really, really good.
For sure.
They didn't have, I would argue they didn't have like the toolsy pieces, like the Kenrich Williams, the Isaiah Joe type guys. Those are the kind of guys they were seeking.
If Kenrich Williams played on the 12-13 or the 13-14 team, there's probably a banner hanging in Paycom Center right now.
Or Isaiah Joe, frankly.
Oh, dude.
Like the guys, like they have the young talent, they're winning games. They've got the tool guys. They've got these, like Ousmane Dieng didn't even suit up tonight. And that's a guy.
I don't think he's with the team.
No. And he's a guy that could be a starter in 3 years for all we know. Like the clip is loaded. You got all these draft picks. So either you continue to replenish, which is a problem with the first iteration of the Thunder, or you trade those picks to either marginally get better or go get a star. Like, it's nuts where this team's at.
Agreed. We've kind of buried the lead on this game.
We have
a very exciting time for Thunder fans. I think we preached for a long time in the preseason and in the lead up to camp that this had the possibility to be one of the funnest Thunder seasons in the history of the team in OKC. Just expectations still aren't quite there yet. You're not expecting them to like make a finals run. They're a young team. They're really fun. They're adding Chet, and it's We're what, Nick, 3 weeks in?
Yeah.
3.5 weeks in. It's living up to the hype right now. It's been incredibly fun. And tonight is just another example of that.
Yeah. And again, final score tonight was 128-109. Lots of themes in the game we can talk about. I'll start briefly just by like setting the stage a bit. No Draymond Green. If you live under a rock, he choked
DNP
out Rudy
choking.
Gobert. Yeah, DNP choking.
Choker. He's not choking, he's choker.
That's true. He's out 5 games. He won't play tonight or Saturday when these teams rematch. Steph Curry out tonight with a knee injury. I think he'll probably play Saturday. I don't think anybody's confirmed that or has evidence to say so other than the fact that he was moving well on the bench tonight.
Mm-hmm.
That's very different than running around the court for 30 minutes and jumping around.
100%.
But there's a good chance, I think, that he plays on Saturday. So Golden State was without 2 of their best players. The game itself started off a little slow for Oklahoma City. So slow, in fact, that Mark called a timeout like 2 minutes into the game. And while that's never a good sign, like I think the game kind of flipped from there.
I think the Thunder came out of that and went on like a 10-2 run.
Yeah, it was impressive to see Oklahoma City call the early timeout, turn the game around. They led by as much as 19 in the first half. Atrocious close to the first half. I think it was like a 28 run by Golden State.
Yeah, 8-0.
Half.
8-0 at the end of the half, 20-8 total. Yeah.
Yeah. So 7-point lead going into the half. It still felt like Oklahoma City obviously was leading and like probably were favorites to win the game. The Golden State certainly had momentum, and like going into the half up 7 versus 19 is a very different ball game. Kind of felt like the New Orleans games. I think that was talked about on social media tonight, where Oklahoma City let up the early lead, but then coming out in the second half, the offense just was not there. It felt like ISO ball. It felt like the team that had success in the first half by just pass, easy shot just didn't exist. It was like one pass shot, isolation shot. I think it was the first time I'd seen Shea force like that.
He took like 5 threes in the third quarter, which is insane.
It wasn't just like that was a lot of forcing that I like the most forcing I've seen this season. Like maybe the most forcing I've seen from Shea in 50 plus games.
Yeah, no, I agree. I have no way of knowing this. Just the vibe I got was he was very frustrated at the constant rim attacks and not getting the whistle. It felt like there was a lot of contact that wasn't getting called on him tonight. And so he tried to like force himself to get going and then tried to force himself into like shooting the ball more. And there were some that were really bad, like top of the key, hold the ball for 3 seconds, take a couple of dribbles and then shoot. And then he buried some that were off the product of good offense and like a drive and a kick to a catch and shoot 3 for Shea.
Yeah.
But I have the stats here for you, Nick. Shea went 6 of 21 tonight for 24 points. Was 9 of 9 from the free throw line. 3 of 7 from 3 is nice. Honestly, the number that I dislike the most from Shea's stat line tonight is 2 rebounds. Don't like that at all. 7 assists, though, 2 steals, a block, and a plus 12 on the night, which is pretty nice. But I would expect him to bounce back Saturday. He typically doesn't stack 2 bad games on top of each other. And I thought he was still impactful defensively as well. But yeah, a weird off night for Shea. But I think it just says so much that your number one guy can have a night like that and very clearly be out of it.
Yeah. And
you still blitz the team by 20.
Yep. It's impressive. I mean, you don't want to see bad Shea games, but I think we're having a completely different podcast right now if Shea has a bad game and this team loses without Steph and Draymond on the opposing team. That's like a whole different conversation. Like Shea has a bad game against a depleted Warriors team. You can't get the win. Had the early, like that would be completely different. But to kind of put a close on the game flow, Oklahoma City just, ran away with it late in the third, early into the fourth.
It was on the floor when that happened, Nick.
There's a guy that is a flamethrower.
Yeah.
By the name of Isaiah Joe.
Definitely. I meant more about the sense of like bench guys. Like the starters were off the floor whenever they made the big push in the second and the big push at the end of the third, start of the fourth. I thought the bench was incredible tonight.
Yeah. I mean, when you shoot 10 of 12 from 3, it's usually going to do pretty good.
Definitely, but it's not like, I mean, they definitely got hot, but I thought a lot of those threes were the product of really good offense.
For sure. 100%.
Like really
they
good.
Weren't, they weren't just jacking out of rhythm threes like the starters were.
Yeah. 100%. 100. And I felt like when the starters started to come back in, like Josh, like J-Dub, like Chet, they kind of fit into that rhythm that the bench had found.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if you watch the game and like kind of halfway paid attention, you probably came away with Vasa had a bad game. Like he got blocked on a bad turnaround. He had some bad turnovers, but I think he does a lot of things just in terms of like getting the offense going and making the extra passes and not playing iso ball. I think he's big. I don't know if he was on the floor that during that entire stretch from the bench kind of ran away with it, but I was impressed with what he did with the bench unit throughout the game holistically.
I didn't think he played bad at all. Like I thought there were some bad moments for sure, but some of the he had a couple like no look passes to the dive man on the pick and roll that were just filthy.
Yeah.
But like you said, just his process. And I think there's a reason we haven't seen him the first 10 games, and now you're starting to see him a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to give him a long runway very clearly on both sides of the ball, Nick. Not just the passing, but just in totality. The IQ is very, very high. But you can tell there is
totally.
a steep adjustment curve to the speed and the athleticism of the game. Going from playing in Turkey to playing NBA basketball, I bet is like the equivalent of the pickup game I played at the rec league tonight and going and playing like D2 college ball. Yeah. You know, I bet it's just like night and day difference. So it takes him some time, and that's fine. I think I could be totally wrong, and he could have played these past 2 games, and now he won't see the court again for a month.
Yeah.
I think though they're going to start increasingly like getting him involved. I think the role he's played the last 2 nights is kind of what you want from him, kind of this 12 to 15 minute off the bench kind of guy, because the other rookie guard, a steal. Yeah. Like people criticize taking on the Davis Bertans contract to move up 2 spots. Worth it.
Yeah.
We're 12 games in. Worth it.
Why don't you tell the listeners who you're referring to and what he did tonight?
Cason Wallace is a dog. This man,
he only misses easy shots.
He got stuffed by the rim. God bless his soul.
And then the last game, he missed the wide open layup on a dime.
Yep.
It's the only shots he's missed in like the last week.
10 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, a team high plus 22 for Cason Wallace, 4 of 7 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3. The first 2 assists were freaking filthy. He threw a lob to SGA. The man is ambitious. I mean, who did he rip the ball from off that rebound? That was an offensive rebound. And he just
Dario.
It might have been Dario. For some reason, I was thinking Moses Moody, who I really like. But, I mean, the dude is everywhere. Just incredibly impressive stuff from Cason Wallace. I can't say enough about the kid. He does everything that you would want him to do, and he doesn't force a single thing offensively. Yep. His buckets offensively are catch and shoot threes, and I cut and nobody saw me, and I catch the ball underneath the hoop and lay it in.
I mean, you read a box score and you see 4 of 7. You're like, wow, really efficient night. That actually lowers his field goal percentage on this.
Isn't that insane?
It's just like, what?
I think that 2 of 2 from 3 might lower his percentage as well.
Impossible, but we know you're not good at math. We've talked Vasa, we've talked Cason, we've kind of alluded to Joe. Just again to talk about him. 7 of 7 from 3 tonight. Like, that's a dude that I think that now he did it on NBA TV, and you hear the broadcast just raving about him like the entire second half, like heat check, get this guy a shot. He's a guy that I guarantee you the average NBA fan probably like knows his name, doesn't know what he's good at, doesn't know what he looks like. This guy is like, maybe this is not a hot take. Maybe this is like, you're like, no shit. He would play rotation minutes on all 30 NBA teams today.
I don't think it's a doubt anymore.
Okay.
Isn't it crazy that Philly just let him walk?
Yeah. I mean, but in their defense, that is no different than when Oklahoma City let, I know Jerry got like traded, but Jerry gone, or like Vit Krejci gone, or Teo Maladon gone. Like those are guys that you knew had upside, but like couldn't find minutes or.
I think maybe the best comp for the OKC letting a guy walk is from years ago, and probably a G League guy in Alex Caruso.
I thought you were going to say James Harden. I was like, what?
Oh, no.
Okay, no.
Probably Alex Caruso, two very different players.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Nick, when you think about it, they got Isaiah Joe for nothing. They picked him up off of waivers.
And he's getting paid.
I don't know when his contract comes up, but he's getting a bag.
Yeah.
They got Lou Dort undrafted. They got Aaron Wiggins at like pick 56. Like, we talk a lot about those guys high in the draft, the Josh Giddeys, the Cason Wallaces, the Chet Holmgrens, the J-Dubs, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But they've hit all over the board in the draft. Everyone has misses, right? Like Trey Mann, Alexei Pokusevsky. Like, we can chalk nobody bats 100%.
Yeah.
But God, like Sam Presti has been so impressive.
Yeah.
Late in the draft, just identifying these guys or identifying Isaiah Joe. It's been awesome.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Joe started the season kind of slow. Tonight we'll do some work for that percentage. So we talked about this, I think, on the Sunday show, how the 3-point shooting is really high right now, like as a team, and how some guys are shooting like very unsustainably, like Cason, like Lou Dort. But guys like Joe were shooting well below their average, and eventually those level out. The Cason hasn't. Maybe this is just who Cason Wallace is, just a 70% 3-point shooter. But Joe is definitely like progressing to the mean.
Yeah, I agree. Last kind of topic on the bench, and I'm going to bring up Hotspot Casino Super Comment. Thank you for the comment.
Shout out Hotspot Casino.
Shout out
He's been here a few times in the chat. We appreciate that.
Our guy. Kenrich Williams. We talked about Micic. We've talked about Joe. We've talked about Cason. Kenrich Williams is a legitimate different. When I look at this bench and as like say those names, they come out of my mouth. Every team has a guy that is just like a hooper, or he just like does a little bit of everything, or he just does all the right things, or he's the guy that just packs a punch when he comes in. And that feels like the entire damn bench in Oklahoma City. You can play them all together, and they're great. You can slide them in with some of the starters early in the first quarter. They're great. I mean, team is undefeated with Kenrich Williams.
Hey, not only is Kenrich the guy on the court that does everything right, I know this is Shea's team, Nick.
Yeah.
But it feels like Kenrich Williams, like, is the spirit, is the embodiment, like, is the guy for this team. Like, the NBA had some guys mic'd up for the Chet vs. Wemby show Tuesday night for the in-season tournament. I got it right that time. And one of them was Kenrich Williams. And he's the one like leading the huddle after they make the starting announcements. Yeah. Like, it's not Shea, it's not Lou, it's Kenrich Williams. Like, Kenrich Williams is the one that like immediately runs over and pushes Zach Collins out of the way to get Micic up off the floor, and then gets in Collins' face whenever there's a pushback. Like, he is more than just on the court. He does everything for this team. His stat line tonight is the most Kenrich stat line ever. 6 points on 100% shooting, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a plus 16. Yeah. He just comes in and I loved what you said the other night, that Cason is like a Kenrich mini-me. It's like the mentor-mentee. couldn't ask for a better mentor for Cason Wallace.
Yeah.
He's got Kenny and Lou Dort, like
perfect. Literally perfect. Whenever Kenrich got in that scuffle with Zach Collins, afterwards, Vasa was like holding his face where he got hit or whatever, and Kenny put his arm around him and like rubbed his head like it was his little kid, even though like the same damn age.
Vasa's older, I think.
Yeah, he might be older. It's just like, and then it's been a couple of years now, like locker room dynamics change. But Mark had a quote a couple of years ago that said basically like Kenrich Williams is the most respected guy in the locker room.
I believe it.
It's remarkable. We're at 21 minutes. Wanted to make this one short. Jacob, any burning thoughts we haven't talked about, big picture themes about this game?
Yeah, we never mentioned a starter besides Shea's rough night. I thought Chet was fine, 4 of 7, 5 from the free throw line.
He's more assertive. I know Chris Paul's a good guard post defender. I was screaming at the TV. He got the ball in the post 4 or 5 times with Chris guarding him. Do your little Dirk fadeaway. 6'1" Chris Paul cannot guard that.
Yeah, he did it against, was it Moody?
Yeah,
I think, and it looked very Durant-ish to me.
Yes.
I thought J-Dub had a great game, 16, 3, 5, 2 steals. Nick, like a fine wine, we told everybody our takes. We said, hey, stop trying to pull the plug on Josh Giddey 10 games into the season. Same thing happened last year. It takes him a little while. Josh, I think, was it Taylor that read the quote the other night about Josh and Coach having that conversation, and Josh was trying to score too much and he needed to get back to who he was. Another night tonight, Josh, 19 points, 6 rebounds, only 1 assist, which surprised me, 2 steals, but I thought picked his spots offensively, attacked the basket, 3 of 3 from 3, which is awesome for Josh, 8 of 14 from the field, super efficient night for him. I thought he really used his body as a weapon down there. Just like a fine wine, Josh Giddey's coming around. Just give it a little bit of time and it gets better.
He is good. It's like, damn, you almost forget that the dude's 21 years old. Probably the youngest guy that touched
just
the court
turned 21 like 2 weeks ago.
Outside of like the actual rookies. It's pretty nuts how young he is.
I think before we get out of here, we got to hit some of the comments because we have an insane amount of people in the chat. I know we wanted to make this one quick, but
take us through.
All right. I'm going to start from most recent and go backwards. We got another super from Alan McIntosh. Shout out to Alan. It blows my mind. People pay money to put comments on our stream, Nick. We're just a couple of idiots talking basketball here. He says, this team is so much fun to watch when they are moving the ball. 30 assists tonight.
That is...
Go ahead.
When you play a team like Golden State, I know they didn't have Steph, they didn't have Draymond, not that he's a three-point shooter, but for years and years and years and years and years and years, the reason you couldn't beat Golden State was because they would just hit you in the mouth with three-pointer after three-pointer after three-pointer. And what we saw tonight was Oklahoma City can counter that now because they have three-point shooters. But that doesn't happen without good ball movement, rhythm shots, drive, kick, draw the defense in. You get the wide open look. Like, it wasn't like Oklahoma City was just hitting heat checks all night. Like, those 30 assists are a result of playing the right way. And it's refreshing to see a Thunder team, any NBA team, just not get hit in the mouth by Golden State. Because there was plenty of times like where Golden State would hit three out of 4 threes in a 3-minute span. But Oklahoma City did the same thing right back to him. And that's a product of ball movement.
Nick, scale of 1 to 10, how worried are you about the Dubs just in general?
Define worried, like to win it all?
Like a 10 is you think they will be in the Western Conference Finals, and a 1 is you think that they might end up like losing in the play-in.
Like a 6 or 7.
Oh wow! So you're still pretty high.
They're good. They're really good.
Steph's good. The rest of the team has struggled mightily. I think like when you remove Steph from the equation on the season, they're shooting like 37 or 38% from the field. Andrew Wiggins has been very bad. Chris Paul will find the stroke. He always does, but he struggled early. Klay Thompson tonight just looked old to me. I think they'll get there, but they look a lot older for sure.
What you just described, they feel like this is as bad as it gets. Like you said, Wiggins should be better, and Clay has not been great, and Steph has been hurt, and all these things like you'd expect. Like Wiggins is a good player; he's an all-star a couple years ago. He's probably not as good as people said he was, but he's still good. And this team was still above 500 in like the 6 seed or 5 seed before this game tonight. So like they're going to be just fine.
Well, I think they need to play Moses Moody more.
You just love Moses Moody. That's why.
I also just think Jonathan Kuminga is not a smart basketball player. I think he's incredibly athletic and he scored well tonight, but some of the decisions just blow my mind.
Yeah.
Wade Johnson brought up a good point that we kind of talked about a little bit during the game, Nick. Kenrich Williams took minutes from J. Will tonight at center. Is that a product of Kenny being back? Is that a product of not wanting to play J. Will and his deep drop defense in the pick and roll against a Golden State team that loves to shoot threes? I don't know. But I thought that was an interesting little thing tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Looney scares anybody. He's a great rebounder, great second chance points, put back like he's done it time and time again in the postseason. But I think until he starts really killing you, and to be clear, they did get killed on the glass tonight. They did get killed in second chance points, but it wasn't like, holy cow, Looney is just changing this game. I think if he was changing the game, we probably would have seen Joe Will a lot earlier.
I think so too. Thelma says the only thing we need is rebounding. If we do, we're going to go deep in the playoffs. That feels like the only weakness on the team right now, Nick.
It does. I feel like this team is going to go through a stretch where they're not hitting threes. We've seen it a couple games this season, and they are just not good when they're not hitting threes. Like most teams aren't. But it's been a little better than you should expect to maintain.
Yeah, they're still finding an identity. It's very early. There are a lot of young guys on this team.
Yeah.
Andreas from Denmark. That's insane. Says, is Isaiah Joe going to participate in the 3-point contest this year?
If he's invited, shit. I mean, he should have been invited last year. I think that the more national TV games they get, and the more he can do this kind of thing. Not that NBA TV is national, but it's better than Bali Sports, where the people in the state that follow the team and are fans can't even watch it. This is an opportunity for him to shine and get that kind of invite, because it's all about clicks and views and revenue, and they put guys in the contest that people want to watch. And like I said earlier, I don't know how many people know who Isaiah Joe is, but this kind of game changes that perception.
James says, Cason and Isaiah Joe, best guard duo off the bench in the NBA.
Oh, I think the answer is no. There's probably one better, but statistically, I don't know if you could argue that. There's probably not a statistically better guard duo. There's probably a guard duo I'd rather have today right now. That'd be a fun exercise on a pod one of these days.
For sure. Luke says Clay got the torture chamber tonight.
Did he get the torture chamber? Or is he just not the same Clay?
He's getting old, man. Yeah. And I'm telling you that
leg.
Well, I can't remember which leg it is, but it was staggering to me to see that. A few more. Arvin says, you guys think Poku will get his chance? He's not even playing that much during trash minutes.
I think he's got that calendar game circled where like they've got it slotted as like a Poku game, and depending on how that goes, we'll see.
Arvin also says he's relieved that nobody got choked out tonight.
Hey, that's a win.
I agree. I think that will do it for us tonight, Nick.
Perfect. Well, this team will be back at it in the Chase Center, not going anywhere. Probably nice for them to be in San Fran for a couple days over the weekend. And when do they get Friday and Saturday off? Probably a light practice, get to explore the city before they play. Oh, they play Saturday, so they won't get Friday and Saturday off. They'll get Friday off and then most of Saturday before the game. And then Sunday, they stay on the West Coast. They go play the Portland Trailblazers. And then next week, they've got an Eastern Conference schedule with the Bulls and the 76ers. We'll be with you guys next on Sunday, right, Jacob?
No post-game Saturday night. Okay. We will cover that game and the Portland game on the regular stream Sunday night, which will start later immediately after the Portland game.
Yep. So don't tune in at 9. We're going to wait till after that Portland game. We'll see you guys then. Thanks for following. Thunder up.